comment. Persons wishing to speak on items not on the agenda should complete a speaker's card and present it to the recording secretary. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes. Persons are invited to submit comments in writing on the agenda items and or attend and make comment on the item of the commission meeting. No action can be taken by the commission at this time. Any item requiring commission action could be scheduled on a future commission agenda. And just for clarification, I know there was some question as to some people wondering when they should be appropriate time to speak. If you want to speak, for example, on the barrier issue, we'll give you adequate time under 11B. Some public bodies like to have everybody talk and about all items, and then the next day take action. We'd like to hear your items or your information at that time, so that it's close to the item, it's fresh in our memory. Mr. Stockton, Deputy Attorney General, had a statement here.
All right, so given the volume of emails and all that, the emotions are kind of running high on some of the issues today, so I thought I'd read this as a warning to people that when you do give your public comment, to keep it subject to the subject at hand. And this is from an Attorney General opinion 00-047. It says a public body's restrictions must be neutral as to viewpoint expressed. So in other words, we don't care what position you take, but the public body may prohibit comment if the content of the comments is a topic that is not relevant to or within the authority of the public body, or if the content of the comments is willfully disruptive of the meeting by being irrelevant, repetitious, slanderous, offensive, inflammatory, irrational, or amounting to personal attacks or interfering with the rights of other speakers. So we've tried to be real careful to keep the personal attacks out of the discussion here and save those for another forum. Okay, so we need to keep the comments to the issues and not attack people. So thank you.
Very good. Seeing that there's quite a few cards, so Mr. Vice Chairman is trying to collate them. If he misses somebody, I don't think it's at all on purpose. He's got quite a pile. Do we have any specifically stated public comment?
Mr. Chairman, and for the public, I have a lot of cards out here, and a lot of people put a lot of different subject matters on one card. So if somebody is forgotten and they want to speak on public comment and we don't call you, just stand up and raise your hand and the chair will recognize you, because we might miss somebody with these cards, and especially since there's multi-agenda items on a card, it might be hard to get through them all. So I think in a way it'd be easier just to call anybody that's signed in for public comment, come up and talk, and I'll try to go through the cards as you're talking.
All right. Main purpose of the cards, of course, is to keep just public record of who's speaking. So, public comment. This time, Mr. Yannick, Carson Advisory Board, Manage Wildlife.
Gil Yannick, Carson Advisory Board. I'm speaking on behalf of the Governor's Sage Grouse Conservation Team. Mm-hmm. Time to get back in action. I'm trying to make an appeal to all sportsmen, sportswomen, interested fisher persons, anybody interested in the outdoors and the free use of the land. We're trying to reinvigorate the local working groups, and the issue, of course, facing Nevada right now is the potential listing of the sage grouse in the bi-state area. We have a unique subspecies, and we're going to have a meeting on December the 16th in the Mason Valley Library at 6 o'clock. We will have people from all the federal agencies, both California and Nevada and governmental, to explain the situation, and we're trying to get people to focus on the fact that it's time to get the volunteers back in action. So if you or any of your neighbors or friends want to get involved and prevent a listing, and that could be totally detrimental to the economic situation in the state of Nevada, we really urge you to attend this meeting and see what you can do. If you know any landowners in the bi-state area, if you know any people who are sheep herders, cattlemen, ranchers, agriculturalists, they need to attend this meeting because for the first time, we've got some money to pay for the projects. In the past, we've always had to tie onto the coattails of the BLM because they're the only ones who had any money. Now, the NRCS, both in Nevada and California, have amassed about $12 million to fund projects for the conservation of habitat and increase the population of the sage-grouse. So if you want to know what's going on, come on down to the meeting and see what you can do to help out. Thank you.
Very good. Anybody else? All right, we have a hand back here. Ma'am?
Remind them you're limited to 3 minutes.
We're limited to 3 minutes, and we have a clock here, just for the record, and Vice Chairman will hold up his hand when you are approaching the end of your time. Go ahead.
My name is Bonnie Matten. I'm with the Wild Horse Preservation League. I just want to read a letter, and I'll pass out copies.
Excellent. Thank you.
I have been requested by several outdoor and wild horse interest groups to represent them at this meeting regarding their position on the recent and very disturbing firing of Ken Mayer as Director of Wildlife. Members of these various groups are concerned for the safekeeping of Nevada's habitat, wildlife, wild horses, and ecotourism, particularly as each of these areas relate to the other. During his tenure, Director Mayer pursued scientifically based management by the Nevada Department of Wildlife. With his guidance, these approaches struck a reasonable and practical balance between the different stakeholders and interest groups. Our collective concerns are that the Department of Wildlife, an agency that has to be based on science in order to function to the best interests of the citizens of Nevada, is now becoming less influenced by science and more influenced by politics. It is our position Ken Mayer should be reappointed as director at the earliest possible opportunity. He is clearly the person who has the greatest relevant experience, expertise, and proven management skills of the various potential candidates. The only one other thing that I'd like to comment is I'm quite disturbed about 16 being moved to tomorrow. A lot of us came from great distances to attend this meeting specifically for this. We had planned on it, and now I don't understand how it can just be arbitrarily changed to the next day. So if you could comment on that would be great.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
And thank you for your letter. Appreciate it. Way in the back, you have a hand?
My name is Catherine Bricker, and I'm a citizen of Douglas County, Nevada. And I'm a total novice. I've never spoken at a meeting before or attended one. But I knew nothing about the Nevada Department of Wildlife except a little bit in the paper before reading about the bear hunt. And because I live at the lake and right in that habitat, of course, I had my opinion, and I wanted to express it. So I went on the website and thought that I should start small and contact my county advisory board, which I did, and they were great, and they were real gentlemen and listened to me. So I have no objection there. What bothered me, though, was this, and I just like to put it out to you guys. When I first started reading about what the wildlife advisory councils at the county level do, it said their job is to gather information and opinions from area sportsmen, then advise the commission about how to manage wildlife, and recommend seizes and limits for their counties. So to tell you the truth, I felt kind of like Hanoi Jane, and I've never felt that way before. So I decided, well, I better read the manual and see if maybe I'm just misunderstanding this, and where do I fit in this process. And that made me realize that ranchers and farmers also can sit at the table that advises and votes. What I found was that probably a person who fits my description is a member of what's called the public. And I didn't really see any place where we could serve in the position of a county advisor where our input might be at the level of others. And I didn't feel this was fair, balanced representation. Anytime I read about the things that the department is doing and some of their concerns, particularly on the money end, about bear management, I have 5 answers from things I've read about that have been done in Montana, that I already see being done in our area, how we handle illegal snowboarders and skiers as an example. And I'm thinking, wow, we really do have some input to contribute. And I think that For myself, I'm not anti-hunting. I don't want this to be misconstrued, but I am pro-democracy. And I don't feel the language and the system as it is now really includes a person like me, the public, in any real way that I could be a voice and vote other than 3 minutes here. So I would really like it if you would use your influence, if not your power, to change this language and be more inclusive of those. I think it would create a really good result. I think it would be as challenging as we're now trying to form a democracy in Iraq with all the different factions. So it would be a daunting proposition, but I think we're up to that challenge. And I know that myself and a lot of people would like to be involved. We think we can be respectful. We think we can be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just so you know,
Hold on a second.
just so you know, that's a statute that has to be changed by the legislature, and the board doesn't have authority to do that.
But you do have influence.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes. Comment?
I believe under the current statute that a public member is required to be honored. Isn't that true?
No.
That's the commission.
Just on the commission, not on the cabs?
All right, Brett Jefferson for public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Brett Jefferson with Nevada Bighorns Unlimited, the Reno chapter. It is our understanding, based upon the Associated Press release, that this board was not aware in advance of the termination of Director Mayer. We believe that his termination is unjustified and unwarranted. We would like to suggest that that is not going to benefit Nevada's wildlife or the sportsmen of our state by that action. And we'd like to recommend to this board that any list that is put forward to Governor-elect Sandoval include Ken Mayer's name for his evaluation and consideration for reappointment. Thank you.
Thank you. What else we got?
Bud Sonotek, I think.
Mr. Sonotek, yes. Yeah.
For the record, my name is Bud Sonotek, and I drove here from Gabs today to personally thank two of the members of this Wildlife Commission for their efforts in forming the Mule Deer Restoration Committee. In particular, former Chairman Gerald Lent for allowing the committee to be formed, and current Chairman Scott Rain, who chairs the committee. In addition, all members of the Mule Deer Restoration Committee are to be applauded for their time and their efforts. This study makes many recommendations that NDOW should have implemented years ago. Their failure to implement basic biological strategies outlined by the committee have resulted in Nevada's declining mule deer population. For years, NDOW has done nothing but study and write strategies without results. It is my hope that this commission would make NDOW adhere to your recommendations to restore Nevada's deer herd. This is something that all prior wildlife commissioners failed to do. They did not have the knowledge, nor were they willing to take the heat like this commission has done. Prior commissioners did whatever NDOW wanted
Mr.
them to do.
Sonotek, please, no personal attacks, okay? No personal attacks even on former commissioners.
And I'll go on. Once again, the commissioners who support these recommendations are to be recognized for launching a new era in honest game management for Nevada's mule deer. I would like also to thank the 6 of 9 of the wildlife commissioners currently sitting on the Wildlife Commission for courageously facing down all of the many adversaries. Powerful negative news media and state and federal bureaucrats lacking in conscience, they prostitute themselves to private special interest groups like environmentalists and so-called Nevada sportsmen's groups, thereby attempting to convince the state and the national public that they are the conservationists rather than you hardworking commissioners. You represent guys like me, the sportsman. My hat's off to you fellas. Thank you. Further, I'm requesting that this testimony be included in the minutes of this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, do we have any other obvious or
I
just call?
have a bunch of them that just say as needed, so
All right.
If anyone
Let's
else.
go up here, Mr. Dixon, and then we'll go over to the side.
For the record, Paul Dixon speaking on behalf of myself. I thought it was appropriate, seeing that I had filed the wildlife heritage lawsuit as an individual, that I get up and give a status to the public here today and the commission. You've read a lot of things in the newspaper. The goal for filing that lawsuit is we have a process, and a discretionary process of this board that I thought had been abused, as opposed to what anybody else believes. The judge decided that as an individual, I did not have standing to challenge an appointed board like this, but the judge did find that this board had abused its discretion, at least in one case. And from that perspective, I see it as a very valuable lesson to this board, that you have discretionary power, but you should not abuse it, and that you should rely on the county advisory boards when and if all possible. The other thing the judge said, and I say it to the public here and I say it to the cabs, is when the judge reviewed our tapes of this meeting and the transcripts, he said, I saw you get up many times, Mr. Dixon, and testify, and a couple other people, but everybody else didn't. If we're in disagreement with something this board's put forward, we all need to stand up as a public and tell them and document it, and it will carry weight. And I would strongly recommend today that all of the cabs, whether you're repeating what every other cab has said, you get up and state your cab's position and make sure that it's clear to this board. And I don't feel that I wasted sportsmen's dollars frivolously, and I feel that the changes that you'll see later in this commission meeting by this commission to the proposed heritage language basically shows you that they want to take away they want full discretion to do anything that they want with the heritage funds, and they want to take away anybody's challenging of their ability to do that, and I think that's wrong. Thank you.
All right, we're on the left side. Over on this side, do we have anybody else here? Public comment. Public comment. Way in the back corner. Sir. And you have a card filled out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
My name is Bart David, Navy SEAL. I actually was entitled to the $25 million on the third guy avocado. I donated it. I want to speak both sides of the fence, all right? I grew up with bears up in Tahoe, and I ran into the Lady of the Paws. And bears are real complacent up there. We got real complacent up there with bears, so they are a danger in public society. And I also have a good friend of mine that's an avid hunter, and I understand both sides of the fence. And my thought is, I think they should open up hunting to a limited end of the bears. The other end of it, I'd like to start a donation fund to relocate the bears. But, you know, that's my side of it. I leave my guns on the other side of the border.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Well, hopefully we can get most of the bear comments on item 11, but go ahead, ma'am.
Margaret Bartini, longtime resident in Klein Village. I would like to comment on your bear issue as far as issuing tags for hunting bears in the wild. Most of the bear issues are in the towns. They are not in the wild. So I feel that it's very unconscionable to just kill for killing's sake for bears that are in their natural habitat and in the wild. And they're not doing damage in the wild. There's no threat. There never has been a threat to any snowmobilers, kids going up on snowboards. I know my kids are up in the meadows all the time. I did raise my children there. They go into the woods in Incline Village proper, and that's where, if there's going to be issues, it's probably going to be there in the town limits. But killing bears in the town limits with a permit, I come from a family of hunters that hunt for food, not for recreational killing. I think if this commission does anything, you need to step up, and it's a human responsibility that we have these bear problems at Incline Village. There's no regulation stating everyone has to have bear-proof containers. We have a bear-proof container at our office, and the bears have, quit coming over and tipping it over because they know they can't get into it, so they're just going to go on to greener pastures. And I know in the condo association that, I own a unit in, they overkilled $30,000 for a bear enclosure. So, it's time that the humans step up, take responsibility for their trash to discourage these bears. And if it has to be a regulation by a county agency, then that's what it has to be to protect the bears and the people. And I know there was an incident of a bear going into Tahoe City Restaurant, and those kind of bears really do need eliminated. And I think that in looking over your budget, that you need to look, instead of trying to gain revenue from bear tags, you need to look in relocation funding, like the gentleman said. If you started a fund or something for that. I'd like to commend Ann Bryant and Carl Lackey for their efforts of helping us with the bears at Incline Village and at Lake Tahoe in general. They're doing a fine job. Carl Lackey is just an upstanding member of our bear patrol up there. And I think that in tags and stuff like that, it's barbaric to just kill for killing's sake. In the materials I was looking at, it indicated that you wanted to, kill the male bears. Is that correct, Commissioner Scott? Okay, well, it just said the male bears. So without getting too close to the bears, you're either hunting with Barney Frank, or how can you tell the difference when you're out there?
Thank you very much. All right, hey, one thing is, we need to respect every speaker, so, if we could hold the applause down, whether you agree or disagree, would appreciate it. We need, and any more bear comments, please, we'd like to have them on item number 11, so we get them all together and fairly. So, if we have anything that's a public comment, further public comment, hopefully on other items, because you will have a chance there on number 11. Anybody else? Seeing none, we'll move.
Going to be a comment to one of the from the commission.
Yeah. Okay. We'll close public comment, and we'll have public comment from the commission. Any commissioners have public comment? Yes. Go ahead, Mr. McBeth.
Thank you, Chairman. Ms. Bricker, with regard to your comment, you asked specifically with respect to the county advisory boards.
I did.
Okay, I want you to realize that sitting on this commission is a member who is the representative for the general public. Or were you aware of that?
Yes, I realized that the commission had general public and also a conservation.
Yes, and so just for your information, the conservation seat is Mr. Capurro, and the general seat is Mr. Schrum. I just wanted you to make sure that everybody was aware of that.
But I was concerned that that systemic imbalance did kind of bubble up or filter down, I don't know which, because if the same governors are appointing the citizens at large.
Okay, if we don't have a question, could you please come up to the microphone?
Okay.
As otherwise won't hit the record.
I just thought that the place to start was at the county level. I did realize the commissioners' composition. And if you, I'm sure, have all been reading the paper, I've read every article. I've become addicted to this issue. The public, that's one of their main criticisms is of the current composition. They feel like actually that they're talking to deaf ears and made up minds, which is fine. I mean, everybody has their right to have their mind made up on any issue. But the current, it's been pointed out article after article after article that there are 5 sportsmen, citizen at large, 1 conservationist, and a rancher and a farmer. Everyone thinks that probably the ranchers and the farmers, understandably and without criticism of that, probably their main issue would be to protect the profitability of their businesses, which is certainly understandable. So when you kind of look at the balance of power, even at the commission level, maybe there's hope in the, token conservationist. I don't mean that is a demeaning statement, but with only 1, that's not a lot of power. The citizen at large, to me, got appointed by the same governor or governors that appointed the rest of them, and I would think there would be good influence to have people like-minded. I would certainly do that. So, yes, I am aware of that, but I think it still doesn't help the public perception of not truly being represented or included.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Any commission, any further public comment from the commission before we move on to item 8? Okay. Thank you. We'll close the commission portion of the public comment.